Alright folks, we're back here. Going to try to start video number 1 of the John Deere 468 Silage Special Mega Wide Plus baler here in the shed. I'm in the shed, so I can't quite get a full photo of this or get it all in one shot, but there she is. As I said before, this baler now has over 12,000 bales on it. We put a little over 200 bales on it this year. The previous owner of this baler wrote down inside each year how many bales was on it, and they didn't write down the last year, but it was on the monitor when we got it, and it was 11,945, 40 something. 11,000. It was almost just shy of 12,000 bales. But anyway, I was going to run over it here, show you how it worked, show you a few of the issues that we found with it. Net wrap on the back here, lights up top there. It's got the big tires on it, got the kicker bar under there, which is one of the problems. It's locked out right now. You can probably see it's crooked. We'll get to that in a minute. But anyway, start over here and kind of go through the drivetrain on it, I guess, just show you how the system works. As you can see, there's the PTO shaft that hooks up to your tractor. This one's a 540 RPM, as you can see right there. They do make these at 1,000. There's your clutch. Just behind that is your gearbox, and there's a shaft that runs this way from there, and comes out right here, and that in turn drives two chains. One goes up here to the top, which is one of your main drive roller. That's called the upper drive roller. The other one comes over here to this big pulley and runs the lower drive roller. The drive rollers are actually, if you can get down in there and see, is a roller that has rubber on it, a bigger roller, and that provides friction on the belts. And there's one more, you can't see it, but that grip the belts and thus keep them turning in the baler. As you can see, there's a makeshift bolt here I robbed off our other baler and some washers that I'll show you in a minute. I got some parts drug out over here on the four-wheeler. I'm going to show you all the issues we found with this when we got it. So those of you that might be in the market for one of these used will know a few of the things to look for with one that has this many bales on it, approximately this many bales. And if you've got one getting close to this many bales, some things you might want to stop and check. The guy that had this baler said it was field ready, and it was far from it. We've put about $1,000 in parts in this baler. The whole pickup down here, this whole mega wide pickup and the rotary system in there has been taken out of this baler. I ripped the whole thing loose and dropped it on the ground with some jacks and backed the baler completely out from under it. We found some bad bearings. Had to completely rebuild this. You can see there's still the part sticker right here on that hub. That hub was demolished, but that whole bearing and cam bearings and all that in there was destroyed. How I missed that when I first looked at this baler, I don't know. It was still working, but anyway, that's been rebuilt. But anyhow, as you can see, those chains run your drive rollers, and back here in all the muck, you can see this thing's pretty dirty. We are using it right now. There's another chain and shaft that runs the starter roller, which is a roller. Go up to the other side and show you. I'll try to get some shots of this thing open in another video. There's a roller right there, nice shiny. It's got, you can see a piece of round stock welded on it. It's kind of, they're spiraled just a little bit. I think there's 4 or 5 of those pieces of stock on that roller. That's what, as the hay comes up this pickup, hits that rotary, it throws it into the belts back there, and that thing is actually turning outward towards me. So as the hay goes up and comes back down, hits that and tosses it back into the belts, and therefore you get the hay started rolling into a roll in there, how the bale starts to form. You can see the augers on each side. When I had this the rotary system, that's what it's called, right, is those blades you see there from the pickup teeth before the belts. I had to beat them back out. One of them was bent. I'm about convinced a T-post or some large metal object went up in this baler at some point. I'll explain that later. Anyway, anyway, that chain goes over there, runs that starter roller, and that roller obviously goes all the way over to the other side of the baler, and comes out on this side, and this is the other side of it here. Right in there is another little slip clutch. Believe it or not, here's another chain. That chain goes down and runs that rotary drive that I was just showing you up in there, those blades that kick the hay up into the belts. That rotary runs all the way across the baler, and then comes out. If I had this cover off, it comes out in here, and there's a chain in here that comes down and drives the pickup. So there is your mechanically how the system works as far as the chain drives and those rollers concern the pickup and whatnot. So if you're diagnosing a vibration or what might be a bad bearing, an unusual sound or whatnot, I've found it helpful to come over here to this side and pop this cover off right here. This whole cover comes off, and it's real easy to lift the tensioner in there on that chain and just remove that chain. What that allows you to do is just run the belts and those rollers, and the whole pickup be turned, off, disconnected. And if you don't hear the sound, then it's somewhere in that part of the baler. If it still is there, then it's somewhere else. This process of elimination. But anyway, and you can even disconnect this chain over here as well in the pickup. So if you suspect it's in there, you can take that off, run it, listen. If it goes away, it's there. If it's still there, well, it's somewhere else. Keep looking. But anyway, we found numerous bad bearings in this baler. They were using it for silage. I'm currently not using it for that. But one of the bearings was back here. It was this starter roller bearing, which I have laid out over here. See, it was this bearing here. It looks good, but it's rough. I don't know if you can see that in the video. You can see it catching there. It's not smooth. Now this was another bearing. I can't show you that roller. You can see it's bad. It's loose. You can hear how rough it is. There's a roller in the bottom of this baler. It's the bottom gate roller, big roller. The bale actually rides on top of that roller as the bale forms and gets bigger, and there's a lot of weight on that. So, and it was funny. I could barely tell that this was bad. I could feel the play in it, in the shaft. Just getting up there and wiggling the shaft, but turning it, I could not feel it. It was one of those things, well, I better take it apart. I'm glad I did, because as you can see, there's some melted plastic on this. That's the back side of that. That was a dust cover. It goes on there. Shaft goes through here. And anyway, it had gotten so hot, it started melting that plastic. It is not a wonder that this thing didn't catch on fire and burn down. But anyway, here's another little cam bearing. It's a cam bearing, but it's the bearing used on the back of the baler. The bell shape sensors back there, these actually run against the belts, and it's loose. I don't know if you can hear it. Hard to do, but it's got rubber on it from the belt where this thing we got so hot it started locking up. But we'd replace those. We replaced some teeth. You can see this tooth. If you can see those wearing flat, it was actually rubbing some of the guards under there. The strippers, they call them, I think, to strip the hay off the teeth. Here's a new one. They're supposed to be square. Somebody had put round teeth on there. It's not right. There's a square one. This one has the mega tooths that are on the end of the baler, or on the end of the pickup. You can see the larger teeth there on the inside. There they are. I had one of those, believe it or not. That's a big tooth. It was broken. But there's a new one. I got a spare. But those are on the end. Those hardly give. Had some that were completely gone. You can see the teeth are completely broke off that one. There's that hub in the pickup. I tell you where that bearing. That's just what was left. There was one ball left in that thing, and you can see here there was holes in this thing like it had been shot with a gun from the inside out. Those balls and pieces of that bearing got loose in there, and they had nowhere to go but out. So that's why that hub was replaced. It was just all pieces. Here's some of the plastic strippers that go on the rotary part. Replace a few of them. You can see that's just completely wore out. Hole in it. This one had actually bent the mount, broke it, wasn't in there right. Replaced those two. The piece in there, I tell you, a made shift that fell off the end of the shaft. Here's the new parts for it. I hadn't put them on. There's the spacers that's supposed to go in there, and there's a big thick piece, and this bolt goes through here. That goes on the end of this shaft right here, and that spacer washer is supposed to butt up here and keep it tight. But anyway, I had took all this apart, checking those bearings in that main drive roller, and I know I tightened it up, but for whatever reason it did come loose, fell off, and got here one day, was about to start baling hay, and I opened the door to grease it, and all that was gone. So luckily nothing got damaged or hurt, and we were able to makeshift something and keep going. So that's that. But anyway, I'm running out of time on this video. As you can see, there's the tension, there's the spring, the hydraulic tension cylinder right there. And that's actually an arm inside the baler that keeps tensions on the belt as the bale is formed. It's got this, I forget what they call this thing, that kind of compresses the hay before it goes into the pickup. And I think with these balers, the key to getting the roll started, I had never had this one misstart a roll in 200 bales, or miswrap one yet. I hadn't used the twine, but we've been doing the net. But anyway, I think the key is keeping that hay flat and compressed all the way up into the bale chamber, and keeps a nice straight form, uniform bale. But anyway, there's a hydraulic pickup cylinder that actually came off the old 530 sitting there. It's the exact same hydraulic cylinder, just a few different parts. So I ordered the parts. I think it was about $70 in the parts, and used the same old hydraulic lines coming out here, and was able to convert this over to hydraulic pickup, which is nice because they wanted like $400 for that hydraulic cylinder, and I wasn't going to pay that. Shouldn't have paid the $70 and those little miscellaneous parts that went on there. But anyway, well, I'm about to run out of time. I'll pause it here, and we'll start part 2 here in a second.